Imagine discovering your spouse has secretly installed a heavy-duty lock on your home office door, and they're refusing to let you inside. Even worse, they're telling you that you're crazy for being concerned. That's exactly what happened to a pregnant mother who's now questioning everything about her 5-year marriage. Imagine coming home one day to find a space that was once open and shared now firmly sealed off, with your partner acting increasingly secretive and defensive about what lies behind that door. This isn't the plot of a psychological thriller. It's the real-life nightmare that's unfolding for a 29-year-old woman whose 5-year marriage is crumbling over a mysterious, locked office door. The situation raises profound questions about trust, privacy, and the boundaries we set in our most intimate relationships. When does a partner's need for privacy cross the line into suspicious behavior? How many secrets can a marriage bear before it breaks under their weight? As we explore this story, I want you to consider your own relationships and the delicate balance between personal space and shared trust. Think about those moments when your gut tells you something isn't right, even when you can't quite explain why. This woman's experience mirrors countless others who found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about their partners. The locked door in this story becomes more than just a physical barrier. It transforms into a powerful symbol of broken trust and hidden truths. What makes this situation particularly haunting is how it evolved from a seemingly innocent security measure into something that's now keeping both partners awake at night, albeit for very different reasons. As relationship experts often point out, it's rarely the initial action that destroys trust. It's the pattern of behavior that follows, the explanations that don't quite add up, and the growing distance between partners who once shared everything. The red flags started appearing 6 months ago when her husband installed an unusual lock on his home office door. Not a normal interior lock, but a serious deadbolt that locked from the outside. His excuse? Protecting work materials from their toddler. But things quickly escalated from odd to alarming. The key would mysteriously disappear. He'd become defensive and agitated whenever she needed to enter. His behavior grew increasingly suspicious, hovering anxiously when she retrieved items, refusing simple requests like changing guest sheets, and gaslighting her by blaming her pregnancy hormones when she expressed concern. Envy. They shared a beautiful suburban home, supported each other's careers, and maintained an open-door policy that reflected their commitment to transparency. The transformation began subtly, as these things often do. Her husband came home one day with a heavy-duty deadbolt, claiming his company had implemented new security protocols for employees working from home. At first, it seemed reasonable. Many of us have had to adapt to stricter work-from-home policies in recent years. But this wasn't your typical office lock. It was a serious security measure, the kind you'd expect to find on a bank vault rather than a home office door. The installation of that lock marked the beginning of a disturbing pattern of behavior changes. Her once open husband began spending increasingly long hours behind that locked door, sometimes well into the night. The sounds coming from the room became suspicious. Rapid clicking of keyboard keys when she approached, hurried shuffling of papers, and the distinct sound of programs being hastily closed. What particularly troubled her was the transformation in his demeanor. When she'd knock, there would be an unusually long pause before he responded, often accompanied by muffled noises that suggested frantic activity. When he did finally open the door, he appeared flustered, sometimes even sweating, with a guilty expression that reminded her of a teenager caught doing something forbidden. the room that had once been their shared space for paying bills and planning vacations had become a source of constant tension and growing suspicion. Even more concerning were the patterns she began to notice. How he'd double-check the lock even if he was just stepping out for a moment, the way he'd angle his body to block her view when he entered or exited, and his insistence on being the only one with a key. These weren't the actions of someone simply protecting sensitive work documents. They were the behaviors of someone hiding something significant. As weeks turned into months, the locked door became an increasingly contentious issue. Their once peaceful home felt like it was harboring a dark secret. She began noticing other changes, too. Her husband started password protecting his phone, something he'd never done before. He'd become jumpy when she walked behind his laptop at the kitchen table. But it was his reaction to her questions that truly alarmed her. When she'd bring up the locked office, he'd become instantly defensive, often turning the conversation around to accuse her of being paranoid or not respecting his privacy. He'd say things like, "Why can't you just trust me?" and "You're being ridiculous. It's just work stuff." But if it was just work, why the extreme secrecy? Why did he sometimes slip into the room at 2 a.m. when he thought she was asleep? The gaslighting became more intense. He'd deny having been in there at times she knew he had, or claim she was imagining things when she heard strange sounds from within. Their arguments about the door became more frequent and heated, often ending with him storming off and locking himself in that very room. The core issue here isn't just about a locked door. It's about the systematic destruction of trust through gaslighting, deception, and emotional manipulation. When confronted, her husband's response followed a clear pattern. First, denial. "It's just weed and video games." Then deflection. "You're being hormonal." Followed by blame shifting. "You're being controlling by asking to enter." This pattern of behavior suggests something far more concerning than just a need for privacy. Even after the confrontation, he staged the room with convenient evidence while maintaining his right to lock his wife out of their shared space. The bone. A discovery that would shatter the fragile trust they'd built over years of marriage. Have you ever had that gut-wrenching moment when something just feels wrong? When your instincts are screaming at you that what you're about to find will change everything? While cleaning their shared bedroom, performing the mundane task of changing sheets, she found a small notebook tucked between the mattress and box spring on his side of the bed. It wasn't just any notebook. This was deliberately hidden, carefully placed where it wouldn't be found during normal cleaning. Inside were hastily scribbled passwords and what appeared to be cryptocurrency wallet addresses, dozens of them, some crossed out, others circled with urgent-looking notes in the margins. When she confronted him about it, his reaction was explosive, far beyond what you'd expect from someone with nothing to hide. He snatched the notebook from her hands, his face contorted with rage and fear, like a cornered animal. He accused her of spying on him and violating his privacy, turning the situation around to make her feel like the wrongdoer. The argument that followed was unlike anything they'd experienced in their 5 years of marriage. A complete breakdown of communication and trust. He stormed into his office, slamming and locking the door so hard the walls shook, picture frames rattling in protest. She could hear him inside, frantically typing and moving things around, the sounds of drawers opening and closing, papers shuffling. Was he deleting evidence? Transferring funds? The uncertainty was suffocating. When he finally emerged hours later, his face was pale and drawn, and he refused to speak to her, treating her like a stranger in their own home. That night, she lay awake, listening to him make multiple trips to the office, each time carefully locking and unlocking the door. The mechanical click of that lock became a haunting rhythm, marking the death knell of their marriage's trust. The online community rallied around her story with an outpouring of support and insight. "This isn't just about a locked door," one relationship expert commented. "These are textbook red flags we see in cases of addiction and secretive behavior." "I've been there," shared one commenter. "My husband started with a locked office door too. Turned out he was hiding a gambling addiction that nearly bankrupted us." Another chimed in. "The late-night activities, the defensiveness, the gaslighting. I saw all these signs before discovering my ex's cryptocurrency obsession." Law enforcement professionals in the comments raised concerns too. "When someone's this protective over a space," one officer noted, "there's usually more going on than meets the eye." The message from experienced counselors was consistent. Trust your gut. This pattern, the secrecy, the defensive reactions, we've seen it countless times. Many urged her to protect herself. "Document everything, take photos, and consult a lawyer," advised one family therapist. "Whatever's behind that door, you need to be prepared." As one commenter perfectly summed it up, "A marriage built on secrets is like a house built on sand. It's only a matter of time before it crumbles." After weeks of sleepless nights and endless worry, tossing and turning while replaying every conversation in her mind, she's reached a devastating conclusion. The trust in her marriage, that sacred foundation that every relationship needs to survive, has been irreparably damaged. Have you ever had that moment when you realize something precious is broken beyond repair? That's where she finds herself now. For anyone facing similar red flags in their relationship, here are crucial steps to consider. 1. Document everything: dates, times, and specific behaviors that concern you. 2. Consult with both a counselor and legal professional before making major decisions. 3. Create a safety plan that protects your finances and well-being. 4. Set clear boundaries about transparency and shared spaces. 5. Trust your instincts. If behavior seems suspicious, don't let anyone convince you you're imagining things. Think about it. How many times can someone look you in the eye and lie before the person you loved becomes a stranger? The constant lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, and the complete disregard for her feelings have shown her a side of her husband she never knew existed. It's like discovering the person you shared your life with was wearing a mask all along. She's taken all the necessary precautions, consulting with a lawyer and meticulously planning to move out while he's at work next week. Her words cut deep when she says, "Even if he opened the door right now and showed me it was empty, I could never trust him again. The person I married would never have put me through this psychological torture." It's not just about the door anymore. It's about the death of trust by 1,000 cuts. Like any smart woman protecting herself, she's documented everything. The subtle changes in his behavior, those suspicious late-night activities, the unexplained financial oddities, and every heated argument about the door. She's created a paper trail that tells the story of a marriage crumbling under the weight of secrets. Each entry in her journal reads like another nail in the coffin of their relationship. Whatever he's hiding behind that door, whether it's evidence of an affair, financial misconduct, or something else entirely, she's decided she doesn't want to be legally or emotionally tied to it anymore. Sometimes, the healthiest choice isn't solving the mystery, but walking away from it entirely. This story serves as a powerful reminder that trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to repair. The locked door in this marriage became more than just a physical barrier. It became a symbol of secrets, lies, and broken promises. Think about that for a moment. How many of us have experienced that gut-wrenching feeling when we realize something isn't quite right in our relationship? While we may never know what was actually behind that door, the damage its presence caused is undeniable. It's like dropping a stone into a still pond. The ripples of distrust spread outward, affecting every aspect of the relationship. Relationship experts consistently emphasize that healthy marriages are built on transparency and mutual respect. When one partner goes to extreme lengths to hide something, they're not just keeping a secret. They're actively choosing that secret over their relationship's foundation. Let's break this down further. Imagine building a house on sand instead of solid ground. Every secret, every hidden truth is like removing another handful of stable earth from beneath your relationship's foundation. Eventually, something has to give. Ask yourself, what could possibly be worth that risk? For anyone watching who might be experiencing similar situations, remember, you have the right to feel safe and trusted in your own home. Your intuition isn't just paranoia. It's your emotional security system sending you important signals. Sometimes, walking away from a mystery is better than letting it consume you. The psychological toll of constantly wondering, questioning, and doubting can erode not just your relationship, but your own sense of self-worth. The real question isn't what's behind the door. It's whether any secret is worth destroying the trust that makes a marriage work. In the end, healthy relationships thrive on open communication, shared vulnerability, and the courage to be honest, even when it's difficult. If you're facing a similar situation, remember that seeking professional help isn't a sign of failure. It's often the first step toward either healing together or finding the strength to move forward separately.